Patience, we've known each other for many years through our work at Shalem. And I've known you as a friend and colleague and author. I love your book, Parenting, A Sacred Path. But what I don't know is how you came to Shalem in the first place. So I'm just wondering where you started on this path with Shalem.
Well, in 1986, I had recently relocated to the Washington, D.C. area, and I was in a group, and somebody happened to just mention the word Shalem. Immediately, I said, what? And they said, and something about spiritual guidance program, and I said, really? So those were the days without the web or the internet or anything like that, so I had to go home and find a phone book and look it up, find Shalem. I get the phone number, I call, a real person answered, and I said, do you have a spiritual guidance program? And they said, yes, we do. And I said, could you please send me that information immediately? So I got it and applied to the program, and within a few months I was accepted and started the program. So I went to the opening retreat for the spiritual guidance program, and I went into the room, and big circle of people. I knew no one. I walked in, I sat down, and the bell was struck. And I said, oh, I've come home. It was a real feeling of just being where I belonged.
Well, I love that sense of homecoming, and I share that myself. So the spiritual guidance program is for one-on-one spiritual direction, companioning others in their seeking God.
Yes.
And 1986 is when you began, but how has that ministry evolved for you over these years?
Yes. So I've been doing spiritual guidance or spiritual direction since that time. And also a few years later, I was invited to come and lead a group on parenting and spirituality because I had this young daughter, and now my whole, you might say, contemplative life had kind of turned around, was in a little bit of upheaval. So I was now leading groups around that theme, and thus the book was also germinating at that time. And then I moved into leading other workshops, retreats, and groups, and eventually becoming the director of the Personal Spiritual Deepening Program, and still leading and enjoying all the programs here at Shalem.
So, I know you, and we know you here at Shalem as one of our most seasoned leaders and spiritual directors. And you're also leading one of our online courses for Shalem, the Online School of Contemplative Prayer. And the focus of that, the emphasis really is on the individual's daily practice.
Yes.
And offering some little practices that might help and support people along that way. But I'm curious about your daily practice and what you see as the value of a set-aside time every day for opening to God.
Well, a practice or a set-aside time to me is just who I am, and it's deeply rooted in my life and my experience. The few practices that I will be offering are some of my favorites. Scripture, I love Scripture, and I'll be sharing about that, and gratitude, which I incorporate every day, and I love talking about that. Body prayer, which is, body prayer is just who I am, and so I love to offer that. And intercessory prayer is another prayer form, and that's really praying for family, friends, and of course the whole planet. So all of these are incorporated into my daily prayer, and the practice is so critical because that's really where I have a chance to just sit and, what I would say, be open and willing for God. So it sort of sets the intention, you might say, or really sets the tone for the day in that openness and availability for God.
That sounds beautiful, Patience. Thank you so much for your leadership and all that you offer to so many.
Thank you, Carole.